Hi, I'm Dr. Allison Johnson. Welcome to our talk today on how to work with worry. So we certainly all have experienced worry in our lives. And in the Chinese medicine terms, we talk about the movement of energy for the different emotions. And what worry does is it binds the energy. So it just like clamps it down and it's just stuck. Like if the machine is stuck and it keeps going dun, 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 and it's not turning. And it's a real detriment to our system, like any of the emotions. And some people will say, well, I can't deny my emotions. Yeah, and so in Chinese medicine, there's no denial of it. It's like emotions are like weather, but they come and they go. And the sooner that we can move that weather system through, the more healthy and vital and happy we're going to be. And that's what I'm all about, helping people stay healthier and more vital in every aspect longer. You can follow me on Immortal Beauty on YouTube or Facebook. And I'm here with Jean Collins.
Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in, and feel free to comment, ask questions, maybe also let us know what your experience with worry has been, and maybe some essential oils or some breathing techniques or moving techniques that you have done to move out of that feeling of worry. Me and Allison work together very well because we're all about supporting the body, understanding our emotional connection with our physical body, and really helping people to realize that they have choices. So I'm on YouTube as well. You can just look up Jean Collins. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, and I love to connect with people. So I would love to connect with you and help you make sure that you are really truly living your best self. Figure out how you can move past worry and focusing on making sure that it isn't stopping in your tracks, because that's what worry does. It stops you in your tracks for sure. So Allison, do you want to tell us about the first oil that we want to talk about?
So I wanted to bring in Digize, which this is the Vitality Oil Digize. And it has things like tarragon, ginger, peppermint, juniper, fennel, lemongrass, anise, and patchouli in it. And in Chinese medicine, this really fits with, for us, worry belongs to the organs of the spleen stomach. And so if you've ever experienced, probably if you've experienced worry, it often feels like a knot in the pit of your stomach, right? So you can understand that association. And because the spleen and the stomach in Chinese medicine are the first to receive our food and drink and to make all these good substances for us that help us stay vital and healthy, if they're out of whack, the whole system's out of whack, right? We survive on what we eat and drink. And so if that machine's broken, it's no good. So the kinds of oils that are in Digize are really, really helpful for the spleen stomach. So it tends to get kind of laden down and what we call damp. And so all of these oils in here are nice and spicy and aromatic, and they kind of like transform that nature, that dampness that can accumulate, and create a really great health for the spleen stomach, and therefore that worry is going to be less likely to happen. So essentially, these oils are really going to help your digestion, which is going to help you digest, think more than food, digest your emotions, digest the input that we have constantly from the outside world, the input that we have from the inside. We have to digest those things too. And so this will really help with that. I really enjoy the taste of this. If you don't care for the taste of these kinds of oils, this is a vitality oil, so you can take it internally. And this is a Young Living vitality oil, so you can take it internally because it's a very high quality essential oil. So this is the only one I'd recommend taking internally, the Young Living brand of internal use oils. So you can put a drop of this in some water. You could put a drop of this in the Young Living product Ningxia Red, which is a wolfberry concentrate, which is really good for your brain health and overall health as well. And that might be a nice combination. Or you could find a little bit of juice and some carbonated water that you like to have with this. And take it daily just to keep your digestion functioning optimally and keep that middle area, that epigastrium, that stomach area open and flowing. and you might find that you're having less worry.
Some great tips. I agree. Digize is awesome for any digestive issue. So one of the other things that's also in the premium starter kit that I would choose for worry, and there's a lot of different ones, and that's why we also asked for you guys to give your comments about what you would use or what you have used, just because there is different things, and sometimes you're like, oh, I don't have that right now, and that's okay. Grab something. Is always my thing. Is sometimes I just grab oils and then I put it on. I'm like, oh, that's what I needed right now. Okay, so Valor. Valor is another one that's in the premium starter kit, and all that links and all that info is below. So if you are ready, or when you're ready to join, you can just easily copy that and fill that out and join our team. It'd be awesome. So Valor is great for helping to get you over withdrawn, because worry can kind of get you into that state. Like, remember, it stops you in your tracks. Like, if you've ever read, or if you haven't, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill is a really good book. And he talks about how the wedge of worry the devil wouldn't part with, because it does stop us. So that's why I thought of Valor, because Valor is really great for courage, as well as it's very just balancing to the whole body. It's balancing to the nervous system. So it's going to put you maybe in more of a balanced, neutral state to be able to move forward. Because remember, if you're thinking of, like, there's really two things. We have faith and we have fear. Those are where all of the emotions basically come from. Or you can use different words, but I like faith and fear because you can't, well, really any emotion, you can't really see it. It's a feeling. And sometimes those feelings are hard to describe. So we have choices. What are we choosing? Are we choosing the fear, or are we choosing the faith? So I like to make sure I'm always choosing the faith. And anytime I am in fear, I put on Valor. Maybe you're still getting used to speaking in public and you have a big presentation, or even like Zoom freaks you out. You're like, oh, I have to get on Zoom. Use some Valor. Like, you're getting blocked from building your Young Living business. Use Valor. Like, have that courage to call your list of people. Call them. It's great. So that's Valor. I do usually like to put it on my wrists, because I move my wrists a lot, and then I can smell it. And I sometimes like to hold my wrists together to help it set in.
That's so cool, Jean, because there's some acupuncture points that are, if you take the crease of the wrist here and you go 3 of your fingers down, basically where you were crossing them right there is pericardium 6, which has a lot to do with opening the chest and the belly and calming for those kinds of emotions. So that would be a point that you could massage. It's the one that also is for motion sickness. So people get those bands, right, that push into that point. But yeah, just take 3 fingers and go down, and it's in between, it's hard to see there, it's in between those tendons that are in the middle there. So it's basically just in the middle. So yeah, that one's a good one to massage if you're feeling anxious or feeling worried, and it'll kind of open up the chest and help reduce that feeling. So it's so cool. It just intuitively, right? We grab the oils, or we're just pushing points. So do trust your own intuition on those things. Like, what do you need? You know, some people feel like, oh, if I feel anxious or I feel worried, I rub the center of my sternum right here. And that's also a really powerful acupuncture point for calming in a similar way that this one is. Or rubbing your belly clockwise or something like that, or rubbing your feet to kind of open up the energy and move it down. So the other side of worry in Chinese medicine is trust. So the natural expression of those spleen, stomach, earth organ energies is trust. And that trust belongs to the earth. So if I'm thinking about, you know, bringing my energy down to my feet, feeling my feet on the ground, letting my feet sink into the ground, feeling that like you're melting into the ground. You can do it when you're sitting too, but if your feet are on the ground, especially, just feeling that melting down and almost feeling like the sense of gravity that affects all of us and the plants, animals, everything on this earth is like hugging you. So it's like kind of like Mother Earth's hug. and just allowing yourself to relax into that and feel that melting down into the earth, and that embracing energy. That can help overcome worry as well, because you're using the other side of it, which is to trust. So it's like to fall into that embrace of the divine, or however you want to see that, that something greater than you has a greater plan. And that may even be kind of like your future self, like your better self has a plan for you. And if you could just relax into it and kind of flow with it, you will know better which direction to go. Because part of the thing with worry is that that binding energy doesn't allow any action. It's just like it's stuck, 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 stuck. And so if you're not moving and changing, are you really living? Right? So that's a question there. Ginger is the other oil I wanted to mention, and that one is a really spicy and warm and kind of grounding oil. It also is like the herb or the substance for that spleen stomach energy. So you could take that also internally as a vitality oil. You could drink it as a tea. You can grate up fresh ginger. You could put powdered ginger, make a tea out of it. Ginger is just really, really wonderful. And you could also apply it topically as an essential oil to your stomach area, and that would be very helpful.
Ginger is a great oil. I'm going to talk about abundance, because in this book from Releasing Emotional Patterns by Carolyn Mean, her idea of worry, the other side of that is abundance, her way out. So like an affirmation is a way out. So I go to the depths. I go to the depths. It's a blend. It has orange, frankincense, patchouli, ginger. It does have ginger in there. Myrrh, cinnamon bark, black spruce. So since it does have some spicy oils, if you are going to put it on topically, you're going to want to dilute it with the carrier oil. And remember, that's Young Living has V6, but that's coconut, almond, grapeseed, jojoba, any sort of fatty vegetable oil. I usually prefer either almond or jojoba or grapeseed, because they don't smell like olive oil smells really pungent, and you want to really smell your essential oils, right? Abundance is great as also the law of attraction oil. I would definitely make sure that you are using an affirmation and really thinking about getting out of that state of worry and moving forward, because if it's what you're thinking about, you're attracting, you want to be aware of that. About 2-3 months, I've been pretty consistently using abundance oil on me. And like if something is happening that I think is bad, or want to put in that category, really it's just helping you grow. But that's something else that we have to like relearn and really look at things from an aspect. I'll say everything is working out for me. The abundance oil is just having it very neutral. Everything is working out for me. But something else that I've been learning and understanding is like where we're feeling and how we are feeling and emotionalizing with things is going to be bringing more of that. So law of attraction is great, but there's also the law of vibration, and that's that energy, that's that frequency, what we're emotionalizing, what we're feeling. And energy or frequency or vibration is just like we use the words feelings. That's how we talk about those, as we talk about, hey, I feel like shit, or hey, I feel amazing, I'm feeling great, everything is just going awesome. Then you're recognizing those different feelings. The fear and the faith idea, it's again like worry and trust. Fear is on that side, or worry is on that side of fear, and then faith is on that side of just trusting the process, knowing that it's going to work out. And even everything right now, we don't really know. We only know what we know. And there's a lot of information out there that's kind of combating information. So we have to trust in what we feel is best for us, and also be respectful of those around us.
Just to elaborate a little from my education on that idea of attraction or frequency, is like if we're like a tree and weather comes through, so you could say that those are the emotions and we're the tree, and it blows the tree to and fro. But after the weather's gone, the tree just returns to its natural state. But if there's a storm that keeps driving, or a certain kind of wind that keeps driving the tree one way all the time, it becomes like wind blown and it starts to be bent in a certain way. And so if we keep cultivating emotional states, we have to understand that things happen, but we do have that choice. And so if we think that we're always at the effect of our emotions or at the effect of the world, then we're not coming from that choice. And what Jean was saying, like, it's like you're coming from your future self, like, where do I want to be? And part of that is using our words and our organizing ourselves in a way of like, everything's working out for me. And you see how that's different than I'm worried, I'm worried, I'm worried, I'm worried, I'm worried, I'm worried. And then when we do that, we gather all the information, we gather all the evidence for why we're worried, why the world is making us worried, why this situation is making us worried, why we're a worried person, all these kinds of things. And it just compounds it and compounds it and compounds it. We become that wind-blown tree, and we're organizing ourselves that way. So everything that we look at in the world, we're looking to gather evidence for that state, basically. And instead realizing I have a choice and pivoting. So it's not saying that we're a Pollyanna, we're just going, everything's amazing. It's like, no, things happen. You know, everyone experiences crappy situations in their life, but how are you going to organize yourself toward that situation? And that takes a certain amount of responsibility. But when you realize that this is my life now, and when we're thinking about the possibility of death as an imminent thing with a pandemic, you know, that people are dying pretty readily, it's like you think like, what am I spending my life force on? And part of that is, what are we doing in action? What are we doing with our friends? Who are we spending time with? All those kinds of things. But it's also, I'm spending time here feeling bad for myself or feeling worried and gathering a bunch of evidence why I'm worried and why the world is topsy-turvy and why I can't do anything, and you're actually spending your heartbeats on that. And when you come to that realization that I'm spending my life, I am choosing to spend my life on this, then hopefully you realize my life is worth more than that. And this is how I choose to orient toward my life. So it's not a Pollyanna way of looking at the world. It's actually a very responsible way in saying, okay, I'm feeling this worry. I don't want to be spending my life on this. I value and choose to move forward with abundance, to move forward with openness, to move forward in trust and faith. And you turn your ship in that direction. You do have the choice to do that. And it's such an amazing thing to actually realize that we do, and to take action on that and to pivot away from what we don't want to spend our life doing.
That is so true. And it's so important to realize that really all information is neutral. We have the choice of putting it on the side of fear or faith. Like, where is it going? What, you know, even if it was presented in a negative or upsetting way, we can still use our brain and our critical thinking to be like, is that really what's happening? Is this really what's going on? Like, how, like, and yeah, like, again, you only know what you know, but if you trust and you use your brain and you ask more questions, you might be able to find more information. And remember, so all info is neutral. We get to choose. Like Allison and I both mentioned, you have a choice of where you're going. And one thing I want to mention last before we close out this awesome talk is, so last Thursday, I had a few things happening, and I felt like a failure. I felt like it wasn't working out, like, you know, but then I knew, I was like, well, that's not really where I want to go. This doesn't, I'm like, am I really a failure? No. And it's interesting because, again, like, failure, if you give up, then you are a failure. But failure can only be temporary defeat if you keep moving forward. So what I used is Valor. So I did use Valor to help me move forward, because I kind of just felt like maybe I should go meditate or take a nap, go lay down. I didn't really want to necessarily do anything, but I did also muscle testing. If you like, muscle testing is awesome. And I just did the sway one. It was really quick and it was like, no, you need to go get stuff done. You have lots to do. So I did that. I put on Valor and Common Sense. I did put on Common Sense. It's very interesting, like when you just kind of go for oils. So yeah, it's just this idea of understanding where you're at and using your oils. And I also did my gratitude journal. So that's huge. Gratitude, being in gratitude is huge, and really thinking, and I do gratitude as if it's already happened. So something that I desire to happen and it's already happened. I'm so happy and grateful now that, so it's in the present, but I'm also kind of using things that I know will happen instead of focusing on that failure and feeling of frustration. It was like, it's interesting. I didn't really know exactly what it was, but I just knew that it wasn't going to get me to where I wanted to be. And something else I've been learning, we all want advancing. We all want to really advance. If you're living the advancing life, then you're living the true life. And it's very interesting. It's a very cool thing. So I hope you guys have learned some awesome things about valor and abundance and Dai and ginger, and just realize that you can use these oils every single day, and you can get your starter kit and jump on Essential Rewards. And I think Allison might have a few words to end too. We'll check out. Bye.
Thank you, Jean. And yes, thank you for summarizing that and really bringing it back to a very, thank you for sharing your personal story. And you're such a great inspiration. And I'm trying to do this more and more too, where it's like, oh, I'm noticing this state. For me, it's a lot of like body pain and stuff. And I'm like, oh, got to put the essential oils on. It helps me feel better, helps my body pain, and helps me have a clearer mind and feel better emotionally as well. But then also noticing these emotional states and then going, yeah, no, I don't want to go there. So I've practiced that quite a bit, but I have other techniques that I use. But using the oils is so amazing because it, immediately you start to smell it, starts to affect your brain, and then you put it on your skin. In a little while, it's going to start to get absorbed into your skin and get into your bloodstream and have this longer lasting permeating effect. And when the really cool thing is when you start to choose to change these emotional states, you're actually wiring and firing new habits. And so it actually becomes easier and easier. So sometimes it may seem like this is so hard. Or I'm trying, but I can't do it like fully as much as I want to. If you keep moving in that direction and you keep practicing, pivoting on the emotional states to where you want to be, it's just going to become easier and easier to do so. And therefore, over time, your life is going to become more what you want it to be. And we'll all be happy about that because, you want everyone to thrive. I mean, that's wonderful. It's amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. Check out the info below on the Young Living Oils and links to our YouTube pages. Bye.